Hi, families. Today we are going to be talking about how to support your child with a math assessment. The first part is going to be today, and the second part will be on Monday of next week. Before even starting, make sure that you have all of the materials that they need ready for them. So these are any sort of math tools that they use on a regular basis for their asynchronous work on Google Classroom or that they use during their live Zoom sessions. So these tools might be their cubes, their whiteboards and markers, their tens frames, their hundredths charts, or any sort of counters they use to help them with addition and subtraction, missing numbers, true and false, everything that we've worked on in the last couple of weeks. What can you do to help? It can be really tricky to figure out how to help without giving too much help because this assessment should be done as independently as possible because we want to see what students know so we as teachers know how to plan moving forward. When we know what students still need work on, we can go back and review them during labs and asynchronous work. So it's important that we can see what your child does independently. But there are some things that you can do to help. So here's what you can do. It's okay to read the question out loud. Now you'll notice on the slides that there is a button to click where I've read the question for them. But it's okay if you want to read the question out loud to them also. Sometimes it can be helpful to hear it from a family member. It can also just be helpful to read it at a different pace. They might need it read faster or slower, so it's okay to do that. The second thing is it's okay to remind them to try using a math tool. Now you don't want to tell them which math tool to use or how to use the math tools. However, sometimes just reminding them that they're there can jumpstart and give them some ideas of how to start solving the problem. The third thing to do is be encouraging. It's important to remind students that it's okay if you're not sure if the answer is correct, but that they're trying their hardest and that they're showing what they can do. So just be encouraging that try your best. It's okay if the answer is not correct. The fourth thing is that it's okay to take a break. Sometimes the math problems can get frustrating and students just need to take a minute to kind of reset. So grab a drink of water, get a snack. Maybe you want to do a movement break like a dance or take a walk. It's okay to take these breaks and then come back to the assessment later. Speaking of getting frustrated, sometimes you can feel stuck on a problem and students might just not know how to solve it. It's okay to skip it. Skip the problem, come back to it later, and if it's still frustrating then, skip it altogether. Just take a note of it and write it in the comments so your teacher is aware of why that problem was not solved. And the last thing that it's okay to do is help navigate the screen. So for example, this is what the assessment will look like. It will have a question at the top. It'll have a button to read the question to the student. It has choices on the side and a check mark. This check mark can be moved. So this might be a little bit tricky for your student to do on their own. You just click it and drag it into the correct box. But if they're having trouble with it, you can move it for them into the box that they tell you goes in. Here's some things not to do to make sure it's done as independently as possible and make sure that we are able to see where those misconceptions are, where those mistakes are being made, so we can address them in the future. So do not tell a student if their answer is wrong. You might notice it that they're answering the question incorrectly, but it's important that we see where those mistakes are. So leave it wrong. Let us see where that wrong answer is so we can help them moving forward. And the last thing is, don't tell and show students which strategies to use. It can be really hard to see them making a mistake or to see them sitting there not quite sure where to start with a problem or what to do with their math tool. But we really want to know if students need more work with certain strategies or more work with comprehension of story problems. So it's important that you not tell them how to use those strategies or what strategies to use, and you can just make a note of it. So that kind of brings me to my next point. Take notes. While they're taking this assessment, it's okay to take notes of what they're struggling with or what they found super easy, and you can write them down in handwritten notes, or you can just write them as a comment on the assignment itself. That way we as teachers know what they're struggling with and what strategies that they were using. So you have